Hello and welcome to another Spec Bits video. Today we are looking at the big three: Cybertruck, Lightning, and R1T. We're gonna basically compare them all and show you what we think about Cybertruck as the owners of the other two of the big three.
Yeah, so Tommy, you just got your Ford Lightning.
Yes.
Congratulations. Of course, I have my R1T. We know which one's best. we'll truly see that today, but yeah. Hold on. But yes, Cybertruck, F-150 Lightning, R1T. Let's hop in the Cybertruck. We'll start off, and then we'll go over these two.
Sounds good.
So, we are in the Cybertruck, if it wasn't too obvious.
Yeah.
First impressions. What are you thinking? I mean, you've been in Cybertrucks before.
Yeah, this is my nearly 10th time in the Cybertruck. Definitely, obviously polarizing design. Very modern, very cyberpunk is what they were going for. Coming from a Lightning, it's kind of funny. It's actually a tad bit smaller. Definitely less headroom.
Ew.
You have a massive, you have a massive dashboard. I could sleep up here if I wanted to. And then the back seat visually looks like about the same size. Oh, there we go. We are coming out of this richer than we were before. But yeah, we have the infamous Squircle, as they call it. Not a yoke, not a wheel. It's like some hybrid in between. So this plus steer-by-wire definitely is a different experience if you're coming from a traditional truck. I do a lot of sim racing, so I'm familiar kind of with these type of dynamics, but I can turn it just, you start it. I can turn it just this much, and it's turned basically the whole truck already. So look at that. That's all the way over. And the ratio changes based on your speed. So definitely it's cool, but you have to get used to it if you're not used to that, use a normal, steering ratio in a regular truck.
Right. Yeah,
So,
I guess coming from the R1T, this feels bigger.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, just off-road, but again, coming from the F-150, that is the standard of truck and size for a truck. So I could definitely imagine this feeling a bit smaller, especially the headroom up here.
And then again, it's not like it's small, it's just smaller than the Lightning. This is still a pretty spacious truck. It seats 5. I wish they still brought out the bench seat, the front bench that they were originally coming out with. That would have been awesome. And I guess you could sit 6-person up here, maybe.
Just lay them out flat.
But yeah, so I think we should go and get started with the driving. Yeah. So no shifter stock here. It's the screen. If you've driven a Tesla before, a modern Tesla, then you're used to that already. My last Tesla was a 2019 3 Performance, and I didn't have that. It had the typical stocks, which Tesla hates now. So we have screen shifting. And we have signal buttons. So look, I'm making this corner, and this is all I'm steering. Steer-by-wire is really good. If you're trying to maneuver a lot, like I can literally move this truck just from a very little bit of movement. It's pretty cool though. Like it's definitely way less effort. After getting used to it, it's a very low effort driving experience. So, there we go. I'm still not used to it. I almost turned into the corner there. So we'll make it right here. Let this.
Visibility is one thing, I guess, and you could speak more on, but I've always kind of questioned about the Cybertruck. I mean, this long front end here, this AB pillar.
Yeah, the pillars are definitely wild. There's a very large blind spot here. They try to fix it a bit with that window there, so you had a little bit more visibility, but still a massive blind spot. If you're at a 4-way stop, you might not see a car right there. I've had that happen on my 3 that also has a kind of big blind spot. Mirrors are pretty good though. So this is the all-wheel drive. It's not the Cyber Beast, but all-wheel drive gets, it's as fast as you need for such a big truck anyway.
Which is what, 4.5 seconds, 0 to 60, if I'm not mistaken.
I think, if not, maybe a bit quicker. I can't recall. I don't remember. I'll have to look at it again. So there are 3 trims now. There's the Cyber Beast, the all-wheel drive, and the rear-wheel drive, which they call the long-range version. Cyber Beast and all-wheel drive are pretty much the same when it comes to what they deliver. The only differences are the motors. But when you go to the rear-wheel drive, you see some huge takeaways for but only a $10,000 discount. You lose 110 outlets, you lose obviously the front motor, no tonneau cover, you have to get a soft rolling tonneau cover, and a few other things I mentioned in the video in the past, I can't recall, but it's, in my opinion, if you were to go for a rear wheel drive, you're kind of missing out on what you're bang for your buck. It's still a $60,000 truck.
Right.
So in my opinion, I'd still go for the all-wheel drive since you're paying that much anyway. It'd kind of be a rip-off if you're getting the rear-wheel drive, unless you really want the efficiency.
I mean, to put in,
Whoa.
geez, a giant wiper.
I didn't even touch it. It just went.
Gosh. To put in perspective, right, the long-range rear-wheel drive is $779 a month to lease. The all-wheel drive, right, dual motor, that is $799 a month to lease.
Mm-hmm.
And I believe that is with the same amount of money down, just $5,000. So, kind of putting in perspective there, it might just make more sense to get the all-wheel drive.
100%.
In terms of cash, right, without the $7,500 tax credit, $69,990 for the long-range rear-wheel drive, and the all-wheel drive is $79,990. But both get the $7,500 tax credit, so the all-wheel drive drops down to $72,490, and the long-range drops down to $62,490. But still, depending on who you are, what you want, that long-range doesn't seem as good as just the all-wheel drive. The all-wheel drive is the sweet spot. I mean, it's right in the middle.
Right.
And it's 4.1 seconds 0 to 60 for the
4.1.
this all-wheel drive Cybertruck.
That's funny. The Lightning is 3.8060, and then your R1T Performance is that one.
3.5.
3.5.
But that is with the performance upgrade. Technically, it's standard at 4.5.
4.5.
So technically the slowest.
Yeah, that's what my Rivian's at. I have the base, I have the slow one.
It's crazy that with electrification, 4.5 seconds is the slow.
We call that slow.
Car.
So looking at the UI here, again, if you're familiar with Tesla, you're used to this. Going from the Lightning or the Rivian is closer to this. It's a more screen-centric design. The Lightning, depending on which trim you get, can have a lot of buttons, which can be good for some people. Some people want more screen, some people want more buttons. The higher trims, the Flash, Lariat, and Platinum have a vertical screen like this with one physical button in the middle as a knob, but the rest of it is also on screen. HVAC, maps, settings, everything like that. Going through a roundabout is pretty nice in this thing. Look at that.
Drive-by-wire, steer-by-wire.
Yeah.
That.
Steer-by-wire plus rear-wheel steering is pretty good for city driving. So we have a lot of the controls here: ride height, dynamics, everything, suspension controls. Again, that's normal for Tesla. Trying to think. The
fact that it's power share as well, that's also something that you'll see in the Lightning, right? Being able to power your home. The R1T cannot do that yet.
Yeah, although they should. They really should.
Yeah. Apparently it physically can, has the hardware, it's just not software enabled. Which, what are we waiting on, Rivian?
Literally. I'm gonna make a quick UE here with the four-wheel steering. That's so good. Holy cow. I had to do a U-turn in the Lightning earlier, and I was like, super wide turn. And this corner is more than my Model 3 did. That's wild.
Now, for you, right, you have an R1S, you are used to a center screen, but you also had a Model 3. So you're used to no center, no binnacle right driver screen. How do you feel with this larger vehicle, no driver screen? Yeah, even in my Model 3, I didn't really like the lack of a driver screen here. For a period of time, I used the Enhanced Auto Commander. If I could plug it into the back of the Tesla and put my phone here, and it would read out my speed. So it would be, I didn't use it for watching, I swear. It was only for speed. The app was locked on here. I had a little MagSafe thing here, and it just showed my speed, my efficiency, my regen, all that stuff. I do prefer a screen up here, just from a safety perspective. I like that it's in the front right corner, or front left corner for the speed, so at least it's close to your point of view. They should at least bring a heads-up display. I mean, you definitely have the windshield for it,
heads-up display would be perfect for this, because then I'm not having to look at the screen, especially with the steer-by-wire. I'm be able to focus on just the driving.
So, does have more cup holders right here. This actually comes down, for those who didn't know. I'm just learning this, right? So this tab here would actually how you pull it up. Locks really sturdy in place. And then you have all this room to do whatever you want back here. But then you come down, pull the tab, and it locks again. It's really good.
Yeah, I love that feature.
To lift this down, another pull tab, and then you get more cup holders. Pretty good in space here. But what do you think of the back?
I love it. I love the space. It's darn near close to my Lightning. I think there's a little bit more leg room, but this is still plenty. Definitely a lot of cargo room here.
Yeah.
With the seats up, like I can demonstrate it again, because I've been hauling stuff in the back of my Lightning already for like 2 days. And where'd it go? Oh,
There it is.
you pull it? Okay.
Pull it.
And so, perfect. So you can put, bins here. You can put groceries, whatever you want, really.
Yeah.
You can put it. I've been wanting to put a mattress in one of these trucks. They can raise.
Floor here, yeah.
Yeah, you could literally take a nap there if you want on the road trip. Now, looking at the bed's interesting. So, the bed's definitely plenty capable. There is a big hump in the back there, so if you're loading something tall, you'll run into that before you run into the bottom of the actual bed.
Which is kind of cheating. Tesla says 6-foot bed, but it's 6 foot from this end here all the way to that end. But again, you can see quite the hump here.
Yep.
And so that's probably like a good 5-6 inches of less room at the top.
Definitely. Now we have our tie downs, 4 tie downs here. We have, I forget what they call it, but you can add accessories to that.
Right.
Right here we have the outlets. So we have our 2 110s and then a 1 NEMA port right here. That's awesome. All EV trucks need to have this. Rivian. Tonneau buttons here. I love that it's a power tonneau button, or power tonneau cover in general. I don't even have a tonneau cover at all on my truck. I'm trying to see if I'm going to pay the premium for, a powered one, or just get a, folding one and call it a day. Your truck has a power tonneau cover now, doesn't it?
Got it installed last week.
Nice.
Finally got a tonneau. Not as fancy as this one here. Of course, my tonneau is the version 1.5.
Mm-hmm.
They do have the version 2, which is very similar to this in terms of design, but for the Gen 2s. But this is very smooth. And you can stand on this.
Oh, yeah.
We'll see if I actually want to. It's Tesla, so I'm kind of scared, of like breaking something.
Will the bumper fall off? It will not.
This is actually this is good. This is like stable. Wouldn't do it all the time. I don't trust myself, but yeah, it can hold all the weight. Something you can't do in the Rivian tonneau at all.
Correct.
Still works. Because if I did it on my Rivian tonneau, it would just break right there.
Yeah,
and it would cave in, or if it didn't cave in, it would never run ever again.
Yep. And then we also have the lighting in there. Bed lighting is awesome. I have the zone lighting in my truck, so it has a light like right there, and then back here, and then the light on top of the roof. But the frosted lights all across the bed looks awesome, and I'm pretty sure it'll be a lot better at night.
One thing I'll note, and we'll see this when we get to the Ford Lightning and the Rivian, but charge port in the back.
Yes.
This is a truck. So you might have something on the hitch, you might be towing something. With the charge port here, and most Tesla supercharging sites are all back in. If you're towing something, you have to unhook it and then plug in, which is like really annoying. And again, you can't even access the bed because with this giant bollard on this post here, you can't open it. But well, of course, F-150 Lightning R1T, it's in the front left.
Mm-hmm.
And so you can pull into a spot, charge, and you can still open the back because it's a truck. You want to open your truck and use it. But
Yep, exactly. Wheels are interesting. So these don't have the aero covers that they come with. They had to redesign them, and then now they're putting them out again. I think that's what we found in the back seat.
Yeah.
Now in the bed, we moved into the bed. Has some super aggressive all-terrain tires here from Goodyear. I'm pretty sure it will affect range. They do have some all seasons that will give you better range. I think those all seasons also come on the rear wheel drive, so that plus the lack of a front motor will definitely come with a better efficiency. Oh, that reminds me, rear wheel drive does not have air suspension. All wheel drive and Cyberbeast have air suspension.
Right.
Rear wheel drive is just regular coil suspension. And I really wonder how that feels, because from a ride standpoint, the Cybertruck is one of the best riding vehicles I've been in. And what's odd is the Rivian has air suspension. That feels amazing, obviously. The Lightning has just standard independent suspension like you see in like an Expedition or something. And it's cloud-like. Not even air suspension, not even really tuned suspension. It's just regular shocks. And it's cloud-like. It's wild. So all three of the big three ride great. So you won't really lose anything going into either one. I think it's up to user preference which one will feel best. I think now we take it back to the center and we can compare it side by side to our trucks. What do you think?
Yeah, let's do it.
Awesome. You drive, I'll sit in passenger.
To kind of show here, of course, Tom's filming on the outside. Automatic parking, again, something that the Rivian and the Ford Lightning cannot do yet. And this is just such an awesome feature that it can just park itself like this. I have no problem parking, right? You know, I'm a great driver, guys. But that is just so convenient. And the fact that it can, it's correcting itself, trying to get down the middle. That is super duper sweet. Look at that. And it's well centered. Like there's enough room next to my R1T, and there's definitely a lot of room, enough room on this side to get out. Boom, we got the frunks all open here. Ford Lightning, R1T, Cybertruck. Just off the jump, I mean, you can tell the Ford Lightning front. This is crazy how large this is, and there's still a little bit of space underneath here. It's crazy how absolutely massive this thing is.
Huge.
You can put so much up in here.
Yep. Got the grocery hooks all throughout. The 12 volt is right there if you need to maintain it. They have the Pro Power.
With USB-C in it.
Yep. And then, just like the Cybertruck, is very high maintenance. You have got to refill that a lot.
Over here, R1T, also pretty decently sized frunk. I've been in it before. Of course, you have even more room down here. I have cables and the sorts, but nice frunk. Unlike the Cybertruck and the Ford Lightning, there is no space where you can just put it in. You have to lift it over, which for some, kind of annoying. For others, it can work. Like I've used this at like EV car events, and I'll put ice and water in here so people can just grab some water, and it's worked well. Probably not something you can do as easily in the Cybertruck or the Ford Lightning, but it can serve a purpose. It would just totally depend on what you're looking for. Yeah, like
you have like a balls and like balls or sports stuff. Right. It could roll out of that. It could roll out of this, but it won't roll out of this one.
Yeah, I've put watermelons in here. You can actually. This is one weird thing. I've had a watermelon in here, and you can like. Driving, you can like feel them hitting back and forth.
Yep.
It's funny. And then over here, the Cybertruck. Frunk. Nice space. I mean, this is, again, it's longer than those two.
Oh, yeah.
So you can probably put, I mean, I imagine you could fit golf clubs in there. Easily. I guess probably fit golf clubs in there.
Yeah, it looks wide enough.
Yeah. They're definitely all wide. But this one's the most shallow and probably just one nice size golf club set. Stick it right here, and that would be it.
Yeah, can maybe feel like a cooler or some other small items, basket for the beach maybe. But yeah, definitely 3 different frunks. And if I recall correctly, the Silverado EV is also massive. So there's, I think, opens the same way where the front grille goes up with it. If I recall, do not quote me on that. That might be the Escalade IQ. But, yeah. Interestingly, so all of their headlights are visible, but the light bar on the Cybertruck is all the way up there.
Right.
Light bar for the Rivian is still here. Light bar for the Lightning is up there, but I still have the 2 individual lights here.
That's technically because the actual headlights are down here, not up there.
Yep. Light bar is just a DRL, same with the rest of these. But yeah, so that's the front comparison. The good thing is, you know, frunks aren't a deal breaker. All these are trucks, so they all have beds. And so if we look at the beds really quick, let's see how I can do this. So lengthwise, R1T seems to be.
I mean, we're almost lined up perfectly between the three.
R1T seems to be a bit shorter.
Yeah, not as deep, it's not as wide, and it's not as long. I mean, this is the same length as a Ford Maverick, but the Ford Maverick's bed is actually deeper. And so you get more space out of it. I still think this is usable. Just this morning,
100%.
with friend Kevin, we put a couch in here with, of course, the tailgate down, and we moved a couch to Goodwill. And it works for most people who actually need to do some truck things. Of course, if you really need to do some road truck stuff, Ford Lightning has an actual truck bed. I think the Cybertruck, yeah, but because these sides are covered like this, it doesn't make it as usable.
Yeah.
Or as easy to put things inside. So of course the Lightning wins on the bed department.
Right. I had to lift a spare tire into my bed earlier, and I just went over the side, you know, like that. I could not do that here. Well, okay, maybe right here at the edge, but all the way here, if I'm lifting something really heavy, like a tub or something, I'm not lifting over this. I'm going to the tailgate. So.
Reach it all the way over. Versus this here.
Yeah. At least both the Rivian and the Cybertruck have nice tonneau covers. I mean, you can technically order one with the Lightning, but it's whatever standard one you can get. Oh, hey, we got
Gen 2
Arrow.
Kind of slow. Now this is the version 1.5. So, right, slats fold in to place versus the version 2 on the newer Gen 1s, and some people are getting on the Gen 1s, and then the Gen 2s, they're new to know. It's kind of like the Cybertruck, as we mentioned, right? Smaller slats, a bit better, but yeah. Also worth mentioning, spare tire in the back that I have here. Now this actually goes in here. I can open this. This will go underneath here. Don't have it in there yet. I'm going to put it in there later today. But Ford Lightning also can have a spare tire underneath the bed if I'm...
Correct.
Okay.
So there's no sub-trunk on that one, but there is an undermount so I can run over there really quick. That's actually a really good point. So the R1T can fit a spare under the trunk. Our Lightning here, no sub-trunk, it's just a regular standard bed. But under here, just like a traditional F-150, is your undermounted spare. Now, the Cybertruck does not come with a spare tire.
Can't even fit it anywhere.
Yeah, the sub-trunk it does come with cannot fit a spare tire. And additionally, when they market getting a spare tire, you're just basically strapping it to the bed, or you have to buy a third-party hitch mount, or on the roof or something, but there is no OEM way to store it except strapping in the bed, basically like how this is. So yeah, that's probably a big loss in my opinion. Again, you lose that sub trunk if you get the rear wheel drive as well, so like you're losing more functionality. A big thing is just open space there, which is an interesting choice. But yeah, the tailgates are interesting. I wonder if we can pull them up. Let's pull the cars up about a foot and drop down all the tailgates. Let's do that really quick. All right, so we have all the tailgates down. We're gonna look at a bit of comparison between all the three trucks, bed and tailgate features and perspective. So we'll start the Lightning. First off, on the tailgate, you can measure, this is really work site based truck. This is already found on the ICE version. They just brought it to this one. In addition, we have this.
Ooh, fancy.
Tailgate step, and you can pull this out for pull this. So if I want to get into the bed, like that, or probably should be right foot, and there we go. So in the bed liner is not standard, it's an option. So usually it's up to the dealership, unless you have like a Platinum or something. Sometimes even those don't come in bed liner. The dealership always bed lines their trucks. They're known for that, so I went to that dealership. So this one comes with the spray-in. This has a Pro Power on board, so we have our normal 110s and two. Can't read. There we go.
240?
Yeah, 240 right here. So really good. You probably 31 hour pack. There's an auxiliary port here, so you can add more stuff here if you want, which is awesome. You can put Tie downs, we're going to get some ratchet tie downs for all 4 of these. This is the bed lighting I was talking about, both on each side. Then you have this that shines down to the bed. And that's pretty much where it ends for the Lightning. Now, you notice no sub trunk. Like I said earlier, it's only the spare tire on the bottom. So, but I think that's fine. You have the biggest front out of the big 3 here. So,
Yeah, a lot of space in this thing. This thing is, I mean, it is a true F-150. Unlike the Rivian or Cybertruck, which are bespoke. They come from the ground up for each brand, or the Silverado EV, which is not like a conventional internal combustion engine Silverado. The F-150 is a regular F-150. So all of the accessories will fit, all of it will match, and it,
exactly. Everything's almost 1-to-1 from a same part standpoint. So let's look at the R1T now.
Yeah.
So first out of the gate, you have this kind of bed extension platform right here. I love that. So basically, there's no dip like there is here. Big dip stuff can fall in here. For the R1T, just continues right on.
And you can see, I mean, the difference between the tailgate length immediately. Here, I mean, this thing is long, even compared to the Cybertruck. And that is because this is a 4.5 foot bed, of course. That's 6 feet. And this is 6 feet as well, if I'm...
5.5.
5.5. But because it's 4.5 and they want to get the most space out of it, it has these like anchors here where it kind of like hooks through, and you can even see a harness deep in there. But that way it extends longer. So this is 7 feet long when the tailgate is down. When the tailgate isn't down, of course, it's just 4.5. And you have your 2 110s over here, 120 volts. And then you also have over here, tire pressure system, so you can hook up here for air for your tires.
Air compressor.
Air compressor, that's the word. I've also seen people use it for like other things like the nail guns, like you can connect to this. It's kind of crazy. And you also have these gear tie downs, and so there's a Rivian cord that you can connect in here and it locks. And so let's say you have something down in here and you can just wrap the cord around and it will lock to the vehicle when the vehicle's locked. And then also, if this wasn't on here, you could open this and this is the space for that to go underneath. But you got tie downs, of course, to know as well, and the lights automatically come on with that. But it is just a Rivian R1T bed. I don't think it's, unlike the F-150 Lightning or the Cybertruck where the beds are larger and it might be a real reason why you're buying it. This is almost like, I would say, maybe the bed isn't the main reason why you're buying it. Maybe you just need a truck, but an actual vehicle, good vehicle, you might like Rivian and you'll get that. Hopefully that's all making sense. But yeah, this isn't a conventional truck, so it's bed's a little smaller. Yeah.
Yep.
Compensating for my small bed, you know, I'm a little insecure about it.
Right.
Now this thing.
Cybertruck. So this bed is, I mean, obviously it's bigger than this one. You have these super long sides you're talking about, so it goes way up. So if you're only loading stuff into the bed from here, you won't worry about it. And then from that perspective, it's kind of better because you have a higher, less likely for stuff to roll out if you turn a corner or something like that. Right. Sub trunk is right here, so you pull this. You notice not big enough for a spare. As we said before, you can only really just put stuff in here. Originally, this was supposed to also come with a range extender. That was a very controversial thing.
It's been canceled now.
Yeah, we all saw that coming.
Not surprised.
But yeah, it also has these, I believe these are backup brake lights. If you have to drive with the tailgate down, these will activate. Similar to, interesting, so the Lightning, Flash, and XLT don't have this. If you have a Larry or Platinum, the tailgate actually comes a bit out and covers this. So you don't have a reverse light, but it has a light bar that goes across with the reverse light. So in the event that you have the tailgate down, once you remove it, there is a reverse light that's kind of recessed that will activate if your bed is down. So similar to what Cybertruck did, the Lightning has that too for the higher trips. But I'm too basic for Larry or Platinum, so I have a Flash. Have our outlets here, have our 120s, and then 240 NEMA port, which is awesome. So you can, similar to the Lightning, a level 2 charge an EV if you want to. You can power a home if you want to. One of my favorite use cases is you can use the shore power for a camper. So I plan to use with the Lightning and Pro Power one day. Tailgate has a really nice tight continuation from the bed onto it. So it doesn't necessarily need the extension that Rivian did for theirs. And it's definitely a tighter space than the Lightning. I can easily drop my phone in here and then some. But very tight over there. So yeah, they all have their benefits. I do wish more tailgates would come with steps or some form of thing like that.
Yeah.
GM has the GMC Multi-Pro tailgate. For Chevy, I think it's called Multi-Function tailgate or something like that. Multi-Flex tailgate. I forget. GM has like 20 billion brand names. But so basically theirs will have a little split in here, and you can basically open the inner part into like a stairway. Super awesome. I kind of like it better than this one a bit, but I see the benefit of this so you don't lose the tailgate. The benefit of the Chevy one though, the GM one, if you have the tailgate up, you can still open the middle part down if you want to have like a ladder or something you want to hold in place. You can fold it out, and the step acts as like a barrier, so like a semi barrier, which is pretty nice. But yeah, so all beds have outlets. Only 2 of them have 240 volt. Rivian, please, please, I beg you. Please.
Giant 135 kilowatt hour battery, of course, the Gen 2s, either max pack 140 kilowatts or the large or standard, which 90 and 100 kilowatt hour. But still, just giant batteries. I mean, this should have
those are both
240 volt.
Those are both larger than this one, and this one has it.
Jeez.
So Rivian, please. But yeah, so let's quick overview of that. Rivian's got their cargo bars here. You can also put cargo bars on the Cybertruck. Here and here, as well as you can do them on the roof as well, I think. And then, with the F-150 Lightning, it's whatever third-party roof racks you can put on there, or like a ladder rack. But yeah, so anything else you think maybe stands out between the 3?
No, I mean, you're getting close to the bed here, but of course this does have the gear tunnel.
Yes.
I have a drone in there. But
gear tunnel is underrated. I love that thing.
Other than that, yeah, I mean the beds are nice. I mean, truck beds are good to have. I think the only thing that stands out to me, I mean, the Cybertruck bed, of course, back there it's like sloped in. And let me just show people. I'm curious. Hopefully, like the car doesn't freak out. But like this is really sloped in, and even from this angle, you can see it's also kind of sloped in. It's not like the F-150 or even my R1T where it's more flat, or it would even go inside. But yeah, the Cybertruck bed is definitely the most interesting.
Yeah, for sure. And the nice part is like although we compare and disqualify or lower down for the different bed sizes, they're all still big beds. There's only a difference of a couple of feet for all of them, so like it's not like you can't haul one thing and haul one thing and the other. All of them can pretty much haul the same stuff until you're getting to like how many bricks can you hold in the bed or something like that. I mean, the R1T is the smallest, but not by enough to like really be upset about. And tailgate comes out ridiculously far, so I mean you still get length, and you can still haul whatever you want. I mean, beds are just like you have to worry about just this. You can as high as you go, you can just strap it down no matter what bed you have. So most of the time it doesn't matter. Bed size is a metric for people when shopping, but it's not that big of a deal. This is definitely, I think this is the widest out of the 3.
Yeah.
Now I look at it. So I mean, I have a wider loading space. I can load more wide items, like a 4x4 or something. You can probably fit that in there. That reminds me, remember the Cybertruck 4x4, whatever it was called, that's supposed to come with the Cybertruck? The little, Cyberquad.
Right.
Yeah, it came out as like a toy one, but we never got.
Yeah, they called the toy. It would be so cool. I mean, Rich Rebuilds, he built
made one
actual
I love his.
Cyberquad, and it looks cool. I wish I could have something like that. I mean, the acceleration on it.
Yeah, it's so massive.
Cool. This thing definitely, I mean, we're not fully overview yet, but since we have them kind of side by side here, I mean, I feel like this overpromised and under-delivered. I mean, it didn't range, it didn't price.
Yep.
and missing things like saying that you're going to get a range extender. And I think at the time, right, with the Silverado EV, with its long range, big battery pack, great for towing, I think Tesla saw that and they're like, okay, we got to compete with that with the range extender. And it just didn't. And I mean, I think in terms of range, I mean, this is 350 for the large pack.
This is 320.
320. And this is also like 320, 330. Now, again, this is the large Gen 1. So the Gen 2 large is 320 miles. So very similar ranges across the board. But yeah, it doesn't far exceed the other vehicles. Like I would say the Model Y or the Model 3 do against the other mid-size vehicles or sedans in the class.
100%. I want to look at the towing capacity evolving really quick.
So 11,500 for the R1T.
And then the Lightning goes up to 10,000 pounds for this one, at least according to a quick Google. And then the Cybertruck, I believe, is I want to say the highest, at least highest rated.
Yeah, I know I think it's comparable to the F-250, Ford F-250.
Yeah, 11,000 pounds.
11,000 pounds. So the R1T, am I getting that right? If it's actually 11,500, I thought it was always 11,500. Let's
Interesting.
see that. Now again, towing for the Gen 2, so it's 11,000 pounds towing capacity for the R1T, this one. Now, the Gen 2, it's a little different. The R1S, it's 7,500.
Yep.
The Gen 2 R1T, it's also 7,500 for the dual and the standard battery packs.
Correct.
The max pack then gets 11,000 pound towing.
I've always been curious, since I have a software locked max pack, where does my Rivian?
What the towing is.
Yeah.
Right.
Am I in some gray area? I don't know.
And I guess if it was the R1T, because I think all R1Ss,
True, they're all
7,500. But if it was a large plus battery pack R1T, would it have 7,500 or 11,000 pounds for towing?
Yeah, that would be interesting. And good thing is, like, all the towing capacities are at least pretty close. And usually before you're hitting capacity on these, we're worrying about range anyway. So towing range, I'd imagine, as we're going on just based off of gross battery capacity, probably the Rivian and the Enduro motors and the dual motor are actually so efficient. Like, it's wild. I average like 2.7 miles per kilowatt hour in my R1S, which is wild. But I think, like, towing lengthwise, from a range standpoint, probably R1T just by guesstimates. Your mileage will vary depending on what you're towing, how fast you're going, the highway, the wind speeds, you name it. But yeah, we've pretty much covered every at least essential for the big three trucks.
Now, we already know what we've picked. I picked the R1T, you picked the Lightning.
Yep.
But if you had to buy one again, I mean, you literally just bought this, what do you think you would go with?
I mean, I'm a really traditional truck kind of guy. And, like, honestly, most of my choice in this was the design. I like the functionality of this. Pro Power is probably will be a hitch, but apart from that, this bed could be removed and replaced like a regular F-150. So I could put a flatbed on here if I wanted to, or a toolbox rack or something like that. There are some Lightnings I posted on Twitter a few weeks ago that are upfitted for government support for utility companies, and they literally had the whole toolbox bed. They replaced the whole thing. They kept the taillights, which was awesome. But yeah, so like, I love that I can switch this. It's compatible with nearly all of the ICE F-150 accessories, all bed accessories. The wheels are the same. The running boards are compatible. Door handles, mirrors, you name it. I want to put tow mirrors on mine one day, see how the efficiency behaves from that. But
I wonder what it would be like for the Silverado EV. What the sales would be if it was just a regular internal combustion engine Silverado and they made it electric like Ford did. Now, I think Chevy did good, GM, making their own bespoke from the ground up built electric truck, because it's great at towing, amazing range, amazing charging. And maybe that limits you when you're, taking something that's internal combustion engine and making electric.
Agreed.
But this, I mean, best-selling truck right now in terms of total sales ever, and Q1 best sale compared to the Cybertruck, which is right behind it. And unlike this, this is in year 4, 3, 4?
Year 4.
Year
21,
4.
20, yeah. Started
So
2022.
going on year 4, and this is still selling well This, you know, 2023, end of 2023 started selling, and it's already, right, the sales aren't really there.
Yeah.
And of course, this price, in terms of price, this is the winner.
Correct.
And again, F-150 is the best-selling car in the United States, right?
Yep.
And so
Always
it
has
makes
been.
sense. You just make it electric, it's going to sell well as well.
Yep. And the interesting point on the Chevy too, like, if people know me, I'm a Chevy guy. If Chevy would have made a traditional looking Silverado, I would have bought that on day one. Like, I love the Silverado look. I love EVs. I wanted to see what Ford did for the Silverado. The Silverado is an Avalanche. The Silverado
It
EV
is.
is a Chevy Avalanche.
Literally an avalanche.
You can't, I will die on this hill. It's a Chevy Avalanche. If they brought back that name, I probably would have bought one because I'm a weird GM purist. But the Silverado EV is great. And to your point, the new design was probably, maybe it was to increase the range because the battery is just massive.
Yeah.
Real world range is in the 450s, which is unheard of.
Crazy.
That is the true EV towing king. It would blow all these out of the
Yeah.
water. But yeah.
Well, awesome. Any final thoughts? It was awesome to be here in Orlando with you, Tom. I
Yeah.
mean, this is awesome. Get our truck side by side. Again, congratulations. This is crazy.
Thank you. This is
Amazing
only
color.
day 3 of owning it. I think I got it 2 days ago.
Day 3. Okay. Amazing. Well, look, thank you guys so much for watching. If you like this video, I mean, of course, like the video, subscribe if you are new, comment what you would pick among the 3. I imagine there's some Cybertruck owners, some F-150 Lightning owners, some Rivian R1T owners, some Chevy Silverado owners. The truck EV game is here and it's still heating up. We got
Yes.
Slate coming, we got Tello that might be coming, and Scout as well. Yeah, this game is heating up. But yeah, if you guys want to see more of this, maybe we can do like a matchup between F-150 Lightning, Rivian R1T owner drive a Chevy Silverado. We'll maybe have to do that
Yeah.
next. If you guys like this video. Awesome. All right.
Awesome. Thanks.
Goodbye.